Help! My students aren't doing what they're supposed to. Luthia is staring out of the window. Daniel is drawing a picture of a transformer in his notebook. And Paco is just sitting in his seat with a blank look on his face. You've given them the instructions, so why haven't they started yet? It's likely that they're not sure what they're actually supposed to do. In this video, I'm going to talk about modelling. No, not the Naomi Campbell type, but modelling classroom activities. Keep watching to find out more. Modelling is a key part of the inquiry-based approach as it provides clear examples for students to follow, it supports their learning process, and it encourages engagement. So let's dive in. But what is modelling? Before we look at the how, let's first discuss what we mean by modelling in inquiry-based learning. Modelling refers to the act of demonstrating a process or skill that students will later apply on their own. Modelling is super important for inquiry-based learning. After all, inquiry is a learner-led approach where we're expecting learners to work independently and develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. This can be really challenging. When you model an activity, you're giving students a clear example of what to do and how to do it. And that makes it easier for them to understand and engage with the inquiry process. It helps to set clear expectations and reduce confusion. By modelling how to ask questions, gather evidence, and draw conclusions, students can see how to engage in inquiry themselves. This can help to foster a positive attitude towards inquiry-based learning and develop critical thinking skills. And perhaps more importantly, in the language classroom, good modelling gives students examples of target language they can use. Show them. When we want our students to do an activity, what they're supposed to do needs to be very clear. If we just explain this orally, some learners will probably struggle to understand. We need to show them as well as telling them. Use the materials in the exact way you want students to do, and use the language you expect them to use. Write it. A written model can also be helpful. Write the instructions and an example where students can see it on the board or on a worksheet that they'll be using. If a student forgets what they're supposed to be doing, this will be a visible reminder. If it's a speaking activity, write a model of the target language inside speech bubbles. Get students involved. After giving instructions and modelling the activity yourself, invite students to demonstrate it. Watching and listening to their peers is much more engaging than listening to the teacher. Display it. Visual support is useful, particularly if you expect students to use specific language. Make a visual display of functional language, vocabulary and structures that you expect students to use and keep it displayed in every lesson. If it's unit-specific language, you can change it every unit. Questions. First up, asking questions. This is a key skill in inquiry-based learning, but sometimes it can be tough to know where to start. Before the lesson, think of some questions that students may have about the topic and use these to model asking questions. Write them somewhere visible, for example on a questions chart or a class KWL chart. Then provide students with useful scaffolding, such as a substitution table for question forms, and then invite them to add their own questions. Research. While it's likely that you'll be planning specific activities to help your primary students do research for their inquiry, it can also be useful to show them how to do basic research. Show them how to keep their question visible to help them remember what information they are looking for. If they're doing an online search, show them how to type their question into the search engine. It can also help to have them think about the kind of things they need to look for. For example, if their inquiry is about mini beasts, they may want to look for some different types of mini beasts first before searching for more specific information about, say, a beetle or a snail. Draw conclusions. This is where students get to put all their evidence together and make discoveries. Model how to analyse the evidence and draw conclusions based on what you've learnt. Model your thinking process. As you read or observe something, verbalise your thinking process for your students. Show them how to identify the main idea, how to look for evidence to support it, and how to draw conclusions based on that evidence. Reflection. Finally, as you know, reflection is an important part of the inquiry process. We need to model this ourselves by asking questions. What have I learnt? What questions do I still have? What do I need to know? By providing clear examples, supporting their learning process, and encouraging engagement, you can help your students become curious, confident, and critical thinkers. Modelling may sound boring, but it's an essential element of the inquiry classroom as we strive to support our learners in becoming more independent. So go ahead and try out these modelling activities in your own classroom and see how they work for you. Thank you for watching and happy inquiring.